Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show. I'm Joe Chaffee. I'm here on the right, and a beautifully airbrushed Joe Rayo is there to my left. And we've got another night of crazy weather, but you know what? Joe looks absolutely fabulous tonight. And the Joe and Joe Weather Show is brought to you by, hang on one second, because it will be brought to you by, there we go. Omni True Value Hardware. Want mulch? They got mulch. They got yards and yards and yards of mulch and topsoil and gravel, and the mulching comes in different colors too, and they make it there so they never run out. 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, right in southwest Suffolk County on Long Island. The phone number is 631-756-1125. They do have the best prices in town, and with all kinds of material prices going up big time, it's a good idea to check them out. The website is omnitruevalue.com. So we'll go from the airbrushed Joe Rayo to the not so airbrushed Joe Rayo. We like the not so airbrushed, that more natural look. You know, I mean, they airbrush.
Yes.
They airbrush porn stars, for God's sake. If you saw what they look like in real life, but no matter. Rain.
That was from a while ago. That picture or this picture. This picture was probably taken back in the early tens, maybe like 2010,
I was
2012.
I was gonna ask you. It is a picture from this century, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
it is. We don't go back then. Actually, I do have earlier pictures, but they're so early, so old, they're in black and white.
I know. So are mine. So are mine. I found a family picture from in my 20s. I was like, oh my God. It was probably like around 20. It was 70s clothes was not that I was ever a slave to fashion, but 70s clothes were still popular, and it was very evident from what I was wearing. I hid that picture because I don't want anyone to see it ever again. I cannot look at those clothes.
Okay.
They're horrid.
Yeah. Probably had lapels out to here, right?
No, it's really, it wasn't even that. It was the pants. Because I had no waist at the time. And the pants looked like they were all the way up to my shoulders. It was bizarre. It's like I didn't. I looked at that. I was like, did I really do that? I mean, did I really wear those things? Oh my God, no! Tell me no. Tell me that it was a Halloween picture or something. I don't know. Anyway, okay, so everything seemed to go on schedule today. Rain, although it's amazing, Joe. The upper low tracking a little bit further north, and the surface low actually going out way to the east before it hooks back up north and northwest into southeastern New England. If you were in New Jersey, now I'm not going to get the exact street right. So I've been using 195 today. I use it on my Weather in 5 video. So if you were south of 195 in New Jersey, and for the most part south of 78 in Pennsylvania, not a half bad day. In fact, even the sun even came out in parts of south central, southeastern PA and southern New Jersey for a little while this afternoon. They had temperatures in the 60s. And of course, wherever it rained, particularly where it rained steadily during the afternoon, temperatures went in the other direction and sunk down into the 40s.
Right. Now, this low, Joe, this storm system is destined, it appears, to track up toward Cape Cod. In fact, it looks like it's going to make a little bit of a turn once it reaches the Cape Cod vicinity to the north and maybe even slightly northwest up to near Boston by midday tomorrow. And if you're up across, let's say, the Green Mountains of Vermont, a portion of the Berkshires in western Massachusetts, you might see as much as 8 inches of snow, or maybe a little bit more. This is spring skiing if you are, of that nature to, strap on a pair of skis and do that sort of thing, even this late in the season. But it turned out to be a really, may I use the term, crappy day here in the Hudson Valley.
You may use that term.
Especially here in the afternoon. Our high temperature was 58 degrees, but that was left over from yesterday. Came at midnight, and it just kept going down, down, down through the night and into the day. I think now it's somewhere in the mid 40s. And I wouldn't be surprised if in elevated areas, let's say above 1,000 feet, north of Interstate 84 later tonight, and probably after midnight, that some wet snow might mix in. Not saying it's going to accumulate, but if you do want to see snow of any kind, you are going to have to go north and go up a ways, up into the uh, high levels, again, above 1,000 or 1,500 feet to see it. Otherwise, it's just going to be a dull, dank, dreary night. That looks like a dull, dank, dreary day tomorrow with more periods of rain in and around our area. Things won't quit probably until sometime tomorrow evening or tomorrow night. And hopefully it looks like, well, it looks like right now a decent Saturday. We were talking about showers. I don't know what your forecast is, Joe, but I actually took showers out of my forecast for Sunday. I think Sunday now looks to be, well, kind of a blend of cloud and maybe a bit of sun, but I think we may hold off on any precipitation, at least through the day and maybe much of the day on Sunday.
I struggled with either putting an itsy bitsy shower or a teensy weensy
Or a
shower.
teeny weensy
A
shower.
teeny weeny. So I went for a widely scattered, well inland teeny weeny shower, and that's it.
Okay.
So I'm kind of on the same
Right.
page with you. My view on the weekend, by the way, is that overall it will be an improvement from today and from tomorrow, but it won't be a perfect weekend because there will be some clouds around, and the atmosphere. We're not seeing a big high building in behind this. So it's going to take it's going to take a little while to clean house. Is sort of how I put it.
Yes.
On the
Yep.
while the satellite loop is running in the background, there's a couple of things I want to just point out. First off, you obviously can see the rotation going on in the eastern Great Lakes with the upper low, but just note how the moisture off the southeast coast is running straight east northeast, and this is part of the problem here. You've got a surface low that is formed inside all of this moisture that's moving off the mid-Atlantic coast. It's going out straight east, and then it's going to wind up hooking back northward and northwestward, but it does it so far out, and then the low winds up so far north and west of, say, New York City, that it's no wonder that snow is going to be falling where it's falling, which is basically up in interior New England and even up into western Maine. Bill Rogers, hope you're feeling better, by the way, Bill, coming along there. The Weather Service, he says up his way, is forecasting 15 inches in the Green Mountains, which I suppose is not impossible, somewhere up there near the top. So he wants to know why the Weather Service is using 1,500 feet for the cutoff of the really heavy snows. And I think, Joe, you talked about this yesterday when we were looking at the Foose temperatures at the levels of the atmosphere between, say, the surface and 5,000 feet, that it looked like you really had to go at least up 1,500 feet to find temperatures below freezing.
The T1 level, as I mentioned yesterday, Joe, is for the lowest 35 millibars of the atmosphere, so between 1,000 and 965 millibars, or from sea level to actually not 1,500, but about 1,390 feet. So I guess the Weather Service said, what the heck? Let's round it off to 1,500. And 1,500 is probably the spot where, most definitely you will see snow. And anything above that, it'll be snow. And certainly with the way the precipitation is forecast over the Green Mountains and across much of the Northeast tonight, there'll be enough so that when it's all over said and done, you could pick up, depending upon your elevation now. The Green Mountains, I know, I've been on Mount Ascutney in the Green Mountains, which is about 4,700 feet and is a great place to ski if you're, again, into that sort of thing. But depending upon, against your elevation, you could have anywhere between 4 to 8, maybe a bit more snow out of this tonight into part of the day tomorrow. So that's basically, Bill, why I think that they decided on 1,500 feet. Not to say that below 1,500 there won't be any snow, but 1,500, most definitely it's going to be snow, all snow, and it looks like again it could be very significant, in fact, downright heavy snow before it's all over said and done. Again, in the high terrain of Vermont.
So I was looking at some observations in New England as of 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, Joe. And in Maine, Caribou, Presque Isle, and Millinocket, because I hope I'm saying that right, all with cloud-free skies and temperature sitting at 57.
Wow.
Yeah, so you really have to go down, close to the New Hampshire border. Rockland, Maine is at 42 with a mostly cloudy sky. Bangor is 49 with a mostly cloudy sky. And it's cloudy in Sanford, Maine, which I'm not sure exactly where that is. They're 45. Also, most of the winds there are either east or southeast. But here's the ob of the day. Mount Washington at the moment is light sleet and 23 with a dew point of 18. Okay. The visibility is an eighth of a mile. I'd love to experience that. And the wind is actually, for Mount Washington, the wind isn't too terrible. It's southeast at 40. So there you go. It hasn't changed in Mount Washington yet. Mount Washington is what, at 6,600 feet?
6,300.
6,300. Okay.
6,300.
All
Yeah.
right.
And by the way, the house that serves as the place where a real live person actually stays for much of the winter season, that is actually held down by chains because of this very, very strong winds. Many years ago, I was at a lecture given by a gentleman. His name was Al Oxton, and he was a weather observer at Mount Washington, and he gave us a most interesting tour of the observatory on Mount Washington and telling us what you have to go through. Once you're up there in the wintertime, you ain't coming down for a good long time because there ain't no way that you're going to be able to get down there. So if you're going to go up to Mount Washington and to visit, let's say, the Meteorological Observatory, my suggestion is go in July and August because you don't want to try that in December or January. It ain't going to work.
Yeah, I would imagine. I certainly would imagine it wouldn't. In Vermont, St. Johnsbury is 42. Montpelier's 40, but they still have a south wind at 5. Burlington is 43, southeast at 7. So nothing of consequence going on there. I just want to take a look. I'm going to go to New York State here. By the way, winter storm warnings. I might as well just put this up on the screen. I went back to a two-shot of us, so I'm going to go back to. This is from Gray, Maine. So they've got winter storm warnings up for the northwestern counties of Maine. Much of New Hampshire is under a winter storm warning, with the exception of the northernmost county, which is under an advisory, and the southeastern most county, which doesn't have anything in terms of an advisory yet. That would include Nashua and Manchester. But Concord is under a winter storm warning. And at least from Gray Rain, I'll bring up they have on their story here, if it will oblige me. See if I can get this. Okay, you know what? This is not going to work this way. So let's try winter weather.
Yeah, the weather service. The weather service in Maine used to be stationed at the Portland Jetport. That's the airport in Portland, Maine. And I don't know why it is, Joe, but there was a period about 20 years ago where all of these weather service offices left the local airport, like in Albany, the Albany County Airport, the Portland Jetport, Philadelphia International. They all went to different little communities or little places outside of the immediate metropolitan areas to which they serve. Again, I don't know why they did that. Maybe
Money.
The rent is cheaper.
Money.
I guess, yeah.
Do you know what they were? Can you imagine what they were paying for rent at 30 when they were at 30 Rock?
Oh God.
My Lord. Yeah, I mean, it was outrageous. It certainly had certainly from that office, it absolutely had to be money. Gray, Maine, which I think is one of the best weather service websites when it comes to snow data. This is their forecast, which covers also they also cover the state of New Hampshire. So they're going for 3 in Concord. Now I imagine they've got these winter storm warnings up because while some of these towns and small cities are not going to get a whole lot of snow, but in the surrounding mountains, you're certainly going to wind up with double these amounts. So they got Jaffrey at 9, for example, Keene at 5, Lebanon at 3, Plymouth at 3. Uh, is it Freiburg or Freiburg? I'm not sure.
Freiburg.
Freiburg is 5.
Fr-
Whitfield at 2.
Freiburg.
Berlin at 3. But again, this is certainly going to be a mountain event. And why don't we just check out? Let's go to Albany, and we'll see what they're doing. Albany's always late in putting out their zone forecasts. It's always have to wait forever for them to update. When I'm sitting around at 4:15 in the afternoon, it's like, where is your? I want to see your, let me see what your map looks like. And but now, of course, being at 7:45, that should not be an issue. Okay, let's see. Albany probabilistics. Here we go. So this is what the expected snowfall is from the Weather Service in Albany. So on either side of the Hudson River, they've got 2 inches for Hunter, Cobleskill at 1, Westerlo at 2. Then it's less than an inch in between. Then you go to Chatham, it's at 2. Pine Plains at 1. These are all places in eastern New York that are along the from the northwestern Connecticut border up into the southern Vermont border. Grafton at 4. Saratoga less than 1. Schenectady less than 1. So I mean, this really is not going to be an upstate New York event. Maybe some of the higher tops in the Adirondacks will wind up with something of significance, but it's really going to be about Vermont and into New Hampshire. And in southern Vermont, they've got Townshend. It's spelled Townshend. So is that Townshend? Because with the H, it's throwing me off.
I don't.
All right. Well, they got
some of these names I can't.
Yeah, they got 6 there. What's the matter?
Well, they're projected to get 6.
Right, forecast to get 6. Brattleboro 4, yeah. Bennington only 1, Manchester, Vermont at 2, Pittsfield, Mass at 3. So, I mean, you get the idea. They actually, for Northwest Connecticut, Litchfield County, they have 2 inches in Torrington. So I suppose, when you get on the foot, start to get the higher elevations in the southern Berkshires, maybe somebody winds up seeing some snow oh, it's pronounced Townsend. Okay. But it's spelled Townshend. But Bill says it's pronounced Townsend. Okay. I won't argue. They have Stewarts in Vermont. And, you go in and have an argument with an old man that's running Stewarts in Vermont. And you may be taking your life into your own hands. So I will just leave it at that. Okay. Winter storm warnings, as we said, covering New Hampshire. Looks like they just threw up a few advisories up for parts of the Adirondacks. We also have winter weather advisories for northeastern Colorado, northwestern Kansas. Winter storm warnings in a few counties, not more than a few counties, in western Nebraska and southeastern Wyoming. So that's with the next weather system that's coming out of the Central Rockies. WPC, by the way, I put up the probability of at least 4, Joe. So if you want to use 50% as the battle zone line for 4 inches, 50% the probability of at least 4 does get into northwestern Massachusetts. And they got a little, I would call this a teeny tiny sliver versus an itsy bitsy sliver. There's a teeny tiny sliver of 80% probability of at least 4 in southern Vermont and in a very small section. Now, there's an itsy bitsy sliver in north central New Hampshire with the 80%. I don't know. I'm in a mood tonight. What can I tell you? And if we go down to 2 inches, they had this target bullseye over the Catskills, and while they still have it there, they kind of shrunk it a little bit, but they still have a little tiny target bullseye of about 2 there. And then you can see the larger area of 2 in southern and central Vermont, and also in central and northern New Hampshire, and in and around the Adirondacks. Okay, so that takes care of the Northeast. Now let's go to the other part of the U.S., where we have the advisories and warnings. So there's this is for 2 inches. So let's jump up to 4 and see what they show us for Colorado, Wyoming, and Nebraska. And actually, they do have a very high probability of at least 4, 80% probability of at least 4 in northeastern Colorado, Looks like Denver's kind of on either side of this, or it might be just on the edge of the 80% chance for at least 4. And also with the southeastern Nebraska and I'm sorry, northwestern Nebraska and southeastern Wyoming. So you can see how the weather service is handling this, and we'll just run up. I'll jump up one more. Let's see if they got anything regarding 8 inches. And I'm sure there's probably going to be somebody that's something here. Yep. Looks like 40 to 50% in northeastern Colorado, southwestern Nebraska, and then a couple of pockets in central and southern Colorado where you have a 50% probability or higher of at least 8. Okay, so this is the view of the storm in the west for at least 8. I'm getting to the point now where I want winter to just finish off. Done. No more snow. No more snow stuff. Okay.
Well, now the Mets now, which again got another rain out today, they're probably on a plane right now, flying toward Denver. Here's the forecast for all of you who are interested for Denver tomorrow night when the Mets are scheduled to play against the Colorado Rockies. They're calling for cloud-filled skies, a 40% chance of snow showers, and a game time temperature of 33. So good luck with that. I believe they're supposed to play on Saturday night. The forecast for Saturday night is calling for a diminishing chance of snow showers, probably to near 0 by game time, and a temperature at game time of 33 degrees. I mean, Joe, I'd be interested to see if they're going to try to subject these ball players to those kind of conditions for either Friday night. I don't think they're going to play on Friday night. Maybe Saturday. Sunday looks like a much better day. I'm not sure if it's a day game. It might be a day game. They'd be smart to play during the day on Sunday. This is how it is in Denver. You go from frigid cold and snow, Sunday 54 with bright sunshine. So maybe they'll play a doubleheader on Sunday.
I just put up a plot here of Denver, which is right. There's moderate snow right now in 33. FNL to the north. I'm guessing that might be Fort Collins. I don't know. 32 moderate snow. But I'm really interested in the odds to the south because Pueblo, Colorado, right now, they are blowing away. 52 temperature with an east wind. They've got the wind barbs. They got 40 knots on the wind barb. I mean, they are really going big time with the wind. Well, I got this Matar thing up. Let's see what's going on in the northeast, if it will be so kind as to plot. All right, Albany is 39, 38 on the land. They're west at about 20. Pressure there, 997.4. Northwest wind at Kennedy now, 49. I mean, look at these temperatures, though, Joe. Atlantic City right now is 59 with a northwest wind. Millville is 60. 61 at Dover in Delaware. I mean, this is what you're dealing with. You've got southeast winds out at the Cape and at Hyannis and Nantucket with temperatures in the 40s there. Providence is 45. Hartford is northwest, a temperature of 42, moderate rain. I mean, I don't see any obs yet here. I mean, none of the reporting stations, the major reporting stations at least. I'm putting a few other plots on. No one is reporting snow as of 7 o'clock Eastern time. So. If it's, remember the models had it already changing in some places. So I don't know if that's a clue as to whether some of this stuff is going to wind up being overdone or not. Not sure. And here's, by the way, I have the plot. This is the snow forecast map for New England. And you see they got these pockets of 6 inches plus and an 18 print. I assume that's Mount Washington there, that 18. And then you've got some numbers of like 3 to 6 in western Maine. And let me just swing this over to the Rockies and see what they got for those areas snow-wise. Just taking a little time to get there.
Bill Rogers wants to know what is METAR? Is that a forecasting tool used by meteorologists? METAR, Bill, is the acronym for Meteorological Aerodrome Reports. Back in the good old days at an airport, you had somebody who was looking out the window or looking around or stepping outside. making an observation meteorologically and then reporting it on the teletype. A METAR is actually an automated report, and a lot of times I hate these METARs because they'll sometimes say clear when it really is more cloudy than clear. But they're an automated report. I guess it saves the Weather Service money by actually hiring a real live person to do this. But the METAR is automated and provides you with the temperature, the humidity, wind speed, sky conditions, and with increasing numbers, we're seeing more and more airports and cities revert to METARs as opposed to having a real live person provide you with the weather observation.
Snow amounts in the west, by the way. Denver has a 5, Boulder 6, Fort Collins 5 for snow totals. In the mountains to the west of Denver, we've got a 15 print in one spot, a 16 print in another. Move up further north, and you get into Nebraska with some big numbers there, up to about 10 inches. Cheyenne in Wyoming at 5. So not too shabby. And in southern Colorado, also some big numbers in some of the mountains. A 19 somewhere along Route 160. I'm just looking at the route numbers here. I have no idea, what towns they go through. And also up into northern New Mexico, north and east of Santa Fe, a streak of 1 foot plus snows that continue on up into Colorado. So an April snowstorm in the Rockies is not that unusual. In the Northeast, it's, in the interior Northeast, it's unusual but not unheard of. By the time you get to mid-April, can happen, has happened, will probably happen again.
I hate to say, when I was much younger and before I met my beautiful wife, I used to have hanging up in my room a picture of a rather shapely young lady in a bikini, which doesn't sound all that unusual, except she was on skis, and I believe she was in Aspen, Colorado. There had been a snowstorm the previous day, and the temperature the next day warmed up into the 70s. And so there she is, attired in beach attire on skis. And it goes to show you the crazy weather that I guess you can have at this time of the year in Colorado, going from cold and snow one day to unseasonably mild or warm temperatures the next.
Yes. Oh, no doubt about it. Rainfall the next 7 days, courtesy of WPC. Now, most of what you see in the Northeast is going on right now. That's the 1.5 inch plus in southeastern New England, and amounts up to an inch further north. WPC is looking at from central New Jersey down into North Carolina, Joe, a large area of no precip at all for the next 7 days, and also from western Ohio back up to the Great Lakes, including Chicago, Milwaukee, no precip for the next 7. Central and northern Florida getting clobbered with rain, and that's where the frontal boundary is. We've been saying this for a few days now, with everything kind of suppressed southward with a low off the East Coast. This is what happens. Some 3 to 5 inch plus rains across northern and central Florida. Gets almost as far south. That 3 inch line gets not too far from Lake Okeechobee. Also seeing some heavy precip along the lower Gulf states, back up into the southern plains, looking at up to an inch or so. That also extends up into Colorado, obviously with the snow falling there. We know that a lot of this is from the system that's there at the moment. And much of the west is bone dry as well, with a trough in the east. You have a ridge in the west, and that makes this rain map. This is the reason why it looks the way it does.
And that same area right in the middle, that little donut hole of no precipitation for 7 days. And it's been bone dry there, and it will continue to look like it's going to be bone dry right on into a good part of next week, Joe.
Yep. Okay, so...
By the way, Keith James, by the way, on the chat board, he said somebody at the White Sox pitched a no-hitter last night in a 7-inning game. It shouldn't count. Keith, it wasn't a 7-inning game. It was a good old-fashioned 9-inning game. It was left-hander Carlos Rodon, and he came within 2 outs of pitching a perfect game. and he lost the perfect game by hitting the guy in the batter's box. I mean, you're this close to perfection, and he didn't walk the guy, and the guy didn't get on an error. He hit the guy, and obviously was unintentional. And then he got the last 2 outs. But it was not a 7-inning game. It was a 9-inning game last night for the Chicago White Sox. Back to weather now that we're done with sports.
All right. Well, that works. All right, I just wanted to bring up the upper air here from yesterday. You see the upper low on the right that's been sitting south of Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. And now, of course, with this system in the Great Lakes, trying to find some room, to go somewhere, and the path of least resistance was southeast. But the upper low is tracking right over northeastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, Long Island, and then moves east from there. And we pointed out yesterday, and this goes back to a NAM run from 2 days ago, when it had an upper low track that was something like what I just drew. Maybe that's a shade further south than it really was, but the bottom line is you needed the upper low. If you wanted to see a widespread wet snow event for a good chunk of the Northeast, you would have needed this upper low to be strong and to track further south than what it did. And it's also somewhat elongated, northeast, southwest. Usually when you get these, you get these upper lows, you want them to be really, really tight and circular, and the surface storm that develops is one that's impressive. And this is just not quite there in terms of the structure. And the upper low by tomorrow really takes its time from getting from New York City to Cape Cod. You probably could drive there faster on I-95 for sure, even with traffic. But the low gets over Cape Cod, kind of sits there Friday night to Saturday morning, and then starts to kick away to the northeast. But we still have a cold flow in the upper atmosphere going into next week. You can see for Monday there's a shortwave trough that is moving through the Tennessee Valley here. And that is going to probably go straight east because there's nothing really to lift it northward. At least it tries to lift northward, but most of it winds up going out underneath this. Joe, it actually even forms a little closed low there over Long Island briefly. But I haven't looked at the surface yet to see what that does. That goes out. Then another trough swings in right behind it for the middle part of next week. This is a broad-looking trough that goes all the way down into the Gulf states. This is not an upper air pattern that says big warm-up, folks, so just bear that in mind. Now, we do have some ridging coming to the east at the end of next week and going into next weekend. This is the weekend of the 24th, 25th, or at least the start of that weekend before another trough drops down from Canada and moves into the eastern part of the United States. So, it's not a doom and gloom pattern by any stretch of the imagination, but on the other hand, it's also not a pattern that is going to be conducive to any kind of warm-ups other than the odd day here and there. This is a time of year that you get sunshine, and if you're in an average air mass, you're going to see temperatures reflexively try to go up to 70. It's almost a no-brainer. It happened today in some. It almost happened today in some places, just to the south of the low track. You get that odd warm day in between, but the overall for much of the time, we're probably going to be sitting with below average temperatures.
Absolutely. And I hope on the chat board, I'm hoping that James H. is just kidding. He does have a couple of icons, a smiley icon and another smiley icon with Horngrim Poindexter-like glasses. James H. writes, so I guess the Bronx didn't need the road salting from the Department of Sanitation in New York this morning.
Yeah, Joe, they did. James Harris, I know James. Good guy. Yeah, he messaged me this morning and sent me a picture. They were salting the roads by him in the Bronx. He's not kidding.
Oh my God.
He's not kidding. Now
Holy mackerel.
maybe they had some excess salt and some supervisor said, you know what, just go get rid of this. I just don't know. just get rid of it. Do something with it. But I mean, if they salt, I can't imagine that they did that. cannot imagine that they did that as sort of a wholesale, we have a threat for snow, so we have to put salt down. They could not have. Please tell me that was not the case. I'm
I
glad,
mean,
James. I'm
during the
glad you put
summer,
that up because I forgot about that. I wanted to mention that tonight and I forgot.
I mean, don't. It's funny. I should know this because for several years I did the forecast at a private weather service. We used to do the forecast for the Department of Sanitation. But I mean, during the summertime, don't they have the salt in one particular lot? You sometimes see these reporters standing at a big mound of snow to report just before a big snowstorm. I mean, do they have to get rid of it? I mean, we talked about also how in the month of November, there's no budget for snow in November in many municipalities. They just don't. They just assume that it's not going to snow to any significant. I mean, can't you hold on to that snow in case it does snow or in case it does some frozen precip in November or October?
Well,
For God's sake,
they
you
used
have
to
to throw it on the roads now when there's no snow.
they
Unbelievable.
they used to keep the they used to keep the salt near the FDR up around 125th Street. There was near where the East River and the Harlem River branches off. There used to be an area there where they used to keep salt there. I don't know if they still do. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Why would they even do? Yeah, they got to have a place for it. I can't imagine they wouldn't.
Yeah, they must have. I mean, like these places, especially New York, God knows how many tons of salt have to be, stored or have to be placed somewhere that they can get at it, especially during the winter season. Well, I don't know. I'm not in charge of the budget.
Right. I just want to
Unbelievable.
let's run real quick through the surface map because the low that impacts New England, of course, and you can see it here just kind of rotating in southeastern New England. It eventually does move out, but even Saturday morning, it's still sitting just east of Nantucket. That's why I think while we'll see improvement over the weekend, just got to wonder whether there might be some cloudy issues around at least for the first part of Saturday. And then on Sunday, there's some kind of weak troughiness that the model spits out a few showers in upstate New York and in western Pennsylvania. More than likely for most of the area, no one's going to see much out of that. On Monday, we've got a weak system that's off the Carolinas that moves out to the east. GFS generates a couple of showers around for later Monday into Monday evening, again scattered. So I wouldn't make a big deal out of that. And then a cold front approaches on Wednesday with a low going out to our south and east, with some showers maybe late Wednesday, and then it turns, for this time of year, for Thursday and Friday of next week, chilly, but dry, going into the following weekend. And now here comes the big rain, if that's, if that winds up being correct. Then you have some,
I'll tell you,
cold front and a storm of some consequence here, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
I'll tell you how chilly I think it's going to get by later next week. In my Hudson Valley weather forecast, which I posted on both of my Facebook pages, for Thursday night, I have a low for the Hudson Valley of 34.
Ooh.
And we're getting pretty deep into April now. So,
well, while the city is while they're getting rid of their excess salt, you can burn your excess firewood.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of that. I mean, it's interesting. All the sticks that have fallen from all the windstorms that we saw over recent weeks. We go out, Renata and I. We go out with and peruse our lawn, look for the sticks, and we put them in paper bags. We literally fill paper bags up. We've got 3 of them right in front of the front door of our house. And on a chilly night, we just take a bag, throw it into the fireplace. It works just as well as a log,
Yeah.
Kindling, if you will.
Yes. The chairman hitting super chat tonight, and we should take this opportunity because we do not have a Saturday show, Joe, to wish Scott's mom a happy 86th birthday. She turns 86 on Saturday. She had, of course, to deal with some medical issues this past year. So hopefully the next year coming up is going to be a better one from that respect. So a big happy birthday to Scott's mom.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
To you.
That's. Yeah. Oh, you're a key too high. You come down a key.
I'm trying to do it the way
Ma-
Dan Aykroyd used to do it on Saturday Night Live when he used to imitate somebody at a nightclub, and he'd go over to the table,
yes.
to say that happy birthday, happy birthday.
Oh, what about when you're in one of those chain restaurants and the staff comes over and just mortifies you with one of those obnoxious happy birthdays, and they're all clapping, and it's like some weird song that they sing or whatever it is. No, I'm not doing that.
So you could
This is
go to
one.
these restaurants or whatever. We have a restaurant, a buffet restaurant, not far from where we are. We haven't frequented since the pandemic, but you'd sit there, you're having your food, and literally, Joe, it seems like every 5 to 7 minutes, somebody is having a birthday, and they play loud over the PA system, happy birthday to you. And I said, oh, not again.
Yeah, I know. It's not my thing either. It really isn't. So, while we're on the subject of the chairman, let's do a Briller Jeopardy for tonight. Are you ready, Mr. Rayo? This is another 10.
Well,
this is another list of 10. Okay. So, according to NOAA, these 10 states, produce the most hail annually.
Oh, what the hell, Joe?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, well, I would think that one of those states, because they have so much convective activity, thunderstorms and whatever.
Wait. Before we start, I'm going to do something here. So before we start, let's do it. Let's do this like Price is Right, Price is Right way. So, we'll start with $10. Okay, and then we'll double each one that you get in a row. We double, all right, and we'll see how far you get, because as soon as you get one wrong, you lose it all. Okay.
I may have lost it all then if I said. I mean, I'm saying Florida, and I'm thinking about it now, and I'm saying to myself, well, wait a minute. Florida is such a warm climate, and you don't often you'll see big thunderstorms and tornadoes and strong winds, but maybe not necessarily hail. Can I take that back?
If you'd like.
That guess? I'm going to take that back.
If you'd like.
I'll take that back. So I'm thinking if we're talking about hail, maybe I'm thinking about some of the states in the so-called Tornado Alley in the nation's midsection, where they do get lots of thunderstorms, severe weather, and hail. So how about a state that didn't make the list for whatever reason the other night? I'll mention this right off the bat as my first choice. How about Missouri?
Okay, now I am going.
Is that on the list?
Okay, I am going to change from $10 now to $100. Okay, and then we'll double it. So yes, okay. Missouri is on the list. So Mr. Rayo, you have $100. Now,
thank you so much.
You can take your $100 and go home right now, or you can risk it and go on to guess the next state.
Now, can I, if I decide to take the 100, can I also get a gift certificate for Dicker and Dicker?
Dicker and Dicker of Beverly Hills. Yes, exactly.
Oh God, what's the state? Wait a minute, we're at the state north of. Because I'm looking for colder climates and Iowa. Is Iowa on the list?
Iowa is on the list. Yeah. So now, Mr. Rayo, you now have $200. Do you wish to risk the 200 and go on?
Yes, except does this next guest come with a gift certificate for the Michael C. Fina?
No, This you get the 200. If you go home, you get the $200, and you get a gift certificate from the famous Spiegel Catalog Company, Spiegel, Chicago, Illinois, 60609.
60609.
Okay.
All right.
Keep going. So now,
let's go north of Iowa would be Minnesota or Minnesota. which has been in the news a lot lately,
Mr.
unfortunately.
Rayo, you now have $400.
Yes.
You now have
Thank you.
$400.
Now, how many have I gotten right so far?
3.
3?
Mm-hmm.
3? Okay, 3. 3. All right. I'm sorry. I'm not. That's not. I'm wasting time. I'm just trying to debate. Should I go for someplace in the Dakotas, or should I go for?
I'm Switzerland here, so
You're Swiss.
I'm just the show's
You're the Swiss
host.
bank.
Yes, I'm just the show's host. I'm Bob Barker.
How about Drew Carey? How about Nebraska?
How about Nebraska? $800, Mr. Rayo. You're up $800.
Am I really going to get $800 from you?
Oh,
I guess
good
not.
God, no. But you're up to $800.
I said Tornado Alley, so I would if I didn't mention Kansas in this list.
Well, if
Kansas,
if you didn't mention Kansas, then it would be likely that you would have lost the $800. But you know what? You mentioned Kansas, therefore you now have $1,600.
How do you like that? Elvira Gold, thank you.
Right. For 23 years, I've been dying to tell you what I think of you. And there, being a Christian woman, I can't say it.
I remember over last summer they had a couple of big hailstorms near Chicago or Illinois. How about Illinois? Illinois.
Hang on one second, because I'm in the middle of doing something here, so just bear with me, and I will tell you in a moment. Hang on. Okay. Illinois is on the list, Joe. It's number 2, by the way. So you are now at $3,200.
Wait a minute. Illinois was number 2?
Number 2.
Uh-huh. I would never have thought that Illinois would be that high up on this list.
Yeah, so you got 4 left.
So that's wild. Number 2. Well, look, if I said Missouri and that was right, and Iowa was right, and Illinois is number 2, why don't I go to the state that on the other state that flanks Illinois? How about Indiana? I'm going to lose now. I'm going to lose. Took a wild guess on Indiana.
Hang on a second, Joe. I just want to tell you
what
that Indiana is, and I want you to look at your screen, okay? It's not on the list. So you know what happens. You know what happens with all the money, the $3,200 that you have gotten. Look at the screen, and you'll see the picture I just put up. Do you see it yet?
I'm looking. No, not yet. Up.
Oh, I thought you'd get a kick. Oh, the pain.
Mr. Spock is giving the what did he call that when he paralyzed somebody?
Vulcan thing? Yeah, I forget.
The Vulcan. It wasn't the Vulcan mind meld or whatever.
No, I don't know what they called it.
Poor Dr. Smith. Great shot. So Indiana. So I took it on a whim. I figured, well, now wait a minute. How could Illinois be number 2, and Indiana, the state right next door, is not even on the list? How is that possible?
Politics.
I want to know.
Politics.
I want to recount.
It's politics.
I want to recount.
Well, Indiana is not on the list. So you're left with, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there was 4 left. So you still got 4 left.
I protest. I protest.
All right. Well,
Was it Denver or Salt Lake City some years ago that had a tornado?
I think it was Salt Lake
I don't think
City.
it was Salt
I
Lake
think it was
City.
Salt Lake
Should
City.
I venture a guess and say that maybe Salt Lake City, that Utah's on the list?
Utah is not on the list.
Oh,
So now you've got 2 wrong. So you're still at 0. You went back to 0. So now you're still at 0. Go on.
how about was it 3 strikes on them out or Kansas? Kansas. How about Oklahoma?
Oklahoma
Did I say
is
Oklahoma already?
no Oklahoma, where the wind blows swiftly down the plain. Yes, Oklahoma is on the list. So you're back to $200.
Okay. How about?
So I think you have.
What the hell?
I think
How
you
about
have.
Texas?
I think you have 2 left.
How about Texas?
Did you mention Texas?
Texas. No, I did not.
Okay, so Texas is.
But Texas is such a big.
Right, Texas is number 1.
Well, of course, I was going to say it's such a big state. I mean, the other day we had Texas on one of the lists of I forget what it was, and it was like number 1 on that. It's surely out of its huge size. So now I've got 1 left.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And a chance to go home with $800.
All right. I'm still PO'd about the fact that Indiana's not on the list.
Yeah.
All right. I blew it by going for the state that's immediately to the east of Illinois. I'm now going to try, and Minnesota's on the list, you said. So obviously the state that is the final one that's left would have to be Wisconsin.
Nope. So you lost you lost that money too. So here are the 10 states. Starting with number 10 is Colorado. Number 9.
Colorado.
Yes. Number 9 is Nebraska. Number 8 is Iowa. Number 7 is Wyoming. Number 6 is Kansas. Number 5, Minnesota. Number 4, Oklahoma. Number 3, Missouri. Number 2, Illinois. And number 1 is Texas. Florida was not on the list.
I don't know. Well, I said Florida. I thought about it, and I said, we're going for hail. We're not necessarily going for severe winds or tornadoes, something like that. And it's awfully hard down in Florida to get hail, especially in the summertime. You'll see severe weather. You'll see severe thunderstorm warnings and whatever, and they will not mention hail necessarily because, again, the temperatures are just too warm to be concerned with that. But I'm still saying, Joe, Illinois is number 2 on the list. Again, Illinois, Minnesota's on the list. How could it not possibly be that Wisconsin, which is literally surrounded, and Indiana? I don't
know. Right. Lake Michigan, maybe. Lake Superior. Impacts of the lakes.
You might. That might very well be.
I might have something there.
Yes, you might. You might.
Yes. Okay. All right. So we had fun tonight, and it's a Thursday night, which means that you and I will be back on Sunday at the usual Sunday shopping time, which is 11 a.m. Eastern time. And I don't have anything going on as far as I know, so we will have our show on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern time.
The chairman says, Joe, what does no one know anyway? Thanks, Scott.
Well, that's exactly. All right, folks, have a great night. I hope you have a great start to your weekend, and hopefully we'll see you on Sunday. And good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, before that, before I hit the end button, thank you, Scott, for hitting Super Chat. Just want to say that. And happy birthday to Scott's mom. Now we can say good night, everybody.
Good night.